Ashmit is bringing us the latest. Any more updates that he's getting from this one? Ashmit, over to you.
Well, clearly this was a really important matter, and what we are seeing is that there's a marked difference in the stance that this government appears to be taking, that the DOT appears to be taking. The similar petition came up in the month of May, is when in fact Vodafone Idea had said that we'll go into insolvency, we'll desperately need help. At the time, the government stance was that either saying one thing or the other, not swaying either in favor or against, but in fact had left it to the wisdom of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, as we all now know, had dismissed that application for relief. Now, however, there's a marked difference in the government's position. The government is squarely batting for some kind of indulgence, for some kind of solution. In fact, those were the words that came from the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, appearing on behalf of the DOT. When being asked, there are previous decisions in this matter, the Solicitor General responded by saying that there's a change in context, there's a change in facts of the case as things stand, especially when it comes to relief that needs to be granted to Vodafone Idea, saying that there is a need for a solution, there is a need felt for the Supreme Court to grant an indulgence, that there is a need felt for some kind of resolution to this entire issue, and that, importantly, the government for the first time also saying that it is no longer simply the regulator or an oversight mechanism. The government is an active shareholder, has equity stake to the extent 49% being clarified here before the Apex Court. So a marked change in position from the DOT, from the government. The Supreme Court for now has deferred the hearing till next week. Next week, Friday, is when this case will come up once again, and that's when perhaps we'll begin to get some picture, some clarity on what solution, what resolution, what indulgence can be granted from the Apex Court, especially in light of this renewed position, renewed stance coming in from the DOT, from the government.
Right. Ashmit, thank you for putting things into perspective. Friday the 26th then is when we hear next from the Supreme Court on this Vodafone Idea case.
India is the stock on our radar. If you've just tuned in, we have received some update on the AGR case where the government has told the Supreme Court they are not opposing Vodafone Idea's plea. Some solution is required, and government is also an equity holder of around 49%. This hearing has been deferred to some other day, but let's get in some reactions then. Vaibhav Kakkar, senior partner in Saraf and Partners, is joining us now. Mr. Kakkar, good morning. Thank you so much for joining in. What do you make of the tone coming in from the government? Do you think some relief could be on the cards? What do you make of the deferment that has come by when the Supreme Court is saying some more details would be required as well?
Yeah, hi, good morning. Thank you for having me on your show. Look, I think it's a step in the right direction. Still very early days, but, as most of the commentators were commenting that given the fact that government already owns 49% in the company, any demand which results in further wiping off companies' top line and bottom line would be viewed negatively by all stakeholders. And of course, the entire decision of the center to convert its debt into 49% equity was done in the backdrop of trying to ensure that there is a revival plan in place. While, of course, Vodafone seems to have certain grounds to challenge the demand from the DOT, that some of these bases of these demands are somewhat irrational. But be that as it may, I think government needs to figure a long-term solution. I think the Solicitor General's remark in the court that some solution has to be thought through, I think has been made in that light. So all in all, very early days, but still a positive direction given in the court. And one needs to see eventually what kind of solution is formulated. And certainly the fact that the government of India itself is owning 49% of this company will weigh in on any solution that is thought through for any additional demands that come through.
Right. Mr. Kakkar, fair to say that the ball now lies in the government's court because they have 49% equity at stake here. They have made it very, very clear that the Indian telecom industry has space for a three-player industry. So is it their prerogative now to find a solution? Because Vodafone Idea has made it very clear that if they don't get any relief, their ability to continue as a going concern beyond this financial year is under threat.
No, you're quite right that I think, overall government's policy is that, as it is, the sector is now consolidated down to three players, with MTNL pretty much becoming, MTNL and BSNL becoming redundant. In that backdrop, I think government does have a clear policy objective of ensuring that there are enough telecom players. But it's a bit of a give and take. It cannot be that whatever our legitimate dues of the government are completely given a go by for that larger policy objective. There will have to be a balancing act in play. Perhaps, DOT will also need to revisit if all the demands are legitimate, if there is a middle ground that can be found, some additional deferments on some rightful claims of the DOT. I think a constructive solution in all lights will have to be thought through. Remember, the fact that government already owns 49%. There is no more wiggle room available for the government to convert any more of its dues into equity, lest it becomes a public sector company. So I think government has done whatever it could have. Any solutions on additional demands will have to be thought through creatively, taking into account already a limitation of not being able to go beyond 49.
Take that point, Mr. Kakkar. Thank you so much for joining in with your views. In fact, our colleague